The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
And now we're going to turn our attention more to the Cubs. We'll be talking all Cubs this segment. And also a little later on in the show, we'll give our picks for Thursday Night Football and for the rest of the games this upcoming Sunday and Monday. But yeah, for the Cubs, Game 1 will be Saturday. We know that, and we know since the Cubs
on the road.
Yeah, since we know the Cubs are a wild card team, they will be traveling either to Los Angeles or New York. So there's going to be big markets for both of those games. If it's in New York, that would be kind of cool. And, of course, the big story that's been going around for a couple days is, who is a better team for the Cubs to face at this point? Is it the Dodgers or is it the Mets? So I'll let you answer that, Ryan Risky. Who do you think is a better opponent for the Cubs right now?
Right now?
Before that this game 5 is underway right now.
I'd probably say it's the Dodgers, just because, outside of Kershaw and Greinke, their pitching really isn't that good. Their bullpen's all right. Their offense isn't really anything to be happy about. It's a nice offense. It's not great. Where the Mets are a good young team that are kind of like the Cubs, and that's why I think that it'd be a little better for the Cubs to play the Dodgers. I'm not rooting for any team by any means, except another thing that helps is that whoever wins tonight, their starting pitcher, Greinke or DeGrom, will not be able to pitch until Game 3.
Right.
Which would mean they only face him once in that series, where Arrieta's lined up for Games 2 and 7.
That's why I agree with you. I think the Dodgers are the better team for the Cubs to play right now.
Again, we're not rooting for opponents.
Right.
We're just saying that's probably the better team.
Because Game 1, okay, you'll go against Kershaw to be Clayton Kershaw against John Lester if that happens. Okay, so you get through that, and I think Lester can match Kershaw, especially in the playoffs, where he's like the best postseason pitcher in Major League history. And John Lester and Clayton Kershaw has been pretty bad in the postseason. He's done pretty well so far, but history shows you that he blows up in the postseason. John Lester does not.
Right. Lester has a really good postseason numbers. Kershaw is meh in the postseason. Arrieta is dominant on the road.
Yeah, and it'd be kind of cool. He's going, if the Dodgers win, he's going to pitch Game 2, where he threw a no-hitter just a couple months ago.
Right, and he's already so obviously he can beat this team, and he pitches better on the road. I know he said that he now knows how to prepare himself for the home starts in the playoffs.
Right, but it's also weird because when I picture the Cubs in the NLCS, I see them playing the Mets. I don't see them playing the Dodgers. But I think I agree with you that the Cubs, I think they'd have an easier time beating the Dodgers. It's going to be tough either way. It's the NLCS, for crying out loud. It's going to be tough. And there's going to be mistakes. And, the Cubs certainly wouldn't be expected to sweep either one of these teams.
Right, except that the Dodgers win, it would literally be an all-blue LCS.
Right.
Cubs, Dodgers, Royals, Blue Jays, all blue.
Their predominant color is blue. The Mets sort of split with orange and blue, I guess you could say. So yeah, I think that's also kind of strange. It's been an all blue LCS, and it's going to be crazy. I just Game 3, you're going to have Kyle Hendricks go again, and that'll be at Wrigley Field. He pitches much better at Wrigley Field, so I think that'll be a plus for him. And Games 3, 4, and 5 will be next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I believe, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Game 5 is on Friday.
So they're going to have a day off in between that? Because Saturday and Sunday is Games 1 and 2 in L.A. or New York, and then they're going to have a day off to fly to wherever, obviously.
Yeah, no, Game 5 is on Friday.
Okay, so 6 and 7, is that Sunday and Monday? Would be 6 and 7?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the entire schedule. I know Game 5 is a Friday.
Okay, so yeah, so as of now, you're going to be home for half a week, which is nice. It would be great to split in either New York or Los Angeles and
That's
come
your
home
job.
with your home field advantage again.
Yeah, really. As the road team, your job is to win one of two.
Yeah.
There. Be nice to win both. Your job is to win one of two, and then you come home for 3 games.
Right, and you should be able to win. I'm not. It's a stretch to win all 3 at home, but
actually, is it a 2-2-1-1-1 or a 2-3-2?
It's a 2-3-2. I believe it's a 2-3-2.
I know the World Series is a 2-3-2.
Yeah, I think they do that for the LCS as well, just not the DS, obviously, because there's only 5 games. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting. It's just I'm glad that the
it
Cubs
is a
are
2-3-2.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Cubs are in this situation yet again. They've only been in the LCS situation once, but of course, back in '84 and '89, they started with the LCS.
Right.
So yeah,
and it's great to be back. And game 5 actually is Thursday, so it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, that's what
off
I thought.
day Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Game 6 and 7.
Right, because you would start the World Series then, at the beginning of that following week. Now, when you look at if the Cubs, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of us because Game 5, for the Dodgers and Mets, it's just starting. But if the Cubs do advance to their first World Series since 1945, when everyone was gone and not caring because everyone was at World War II, including my great-grandpa, who listened to the World Series games between the Cubs and Tigers in 1945 on a radio in Germany. But, besides that, who do you think would be a better matchup in the World Series for the Cubs? Royals or Blue Jays? The Royals have the clutch offense when they need it. The Blue Jays pretty much don't have much pitching past Price, and Stroman, but they do have an offense.
It should be a high-powered offensive series between the Cubs and Blue Jays. It's tough because the Royals are a team that just knows how to win. They come back to win. They know what they have to do. And so I'm not rooting for any opponent by any means.
Yeah,
one thing
tough.
I really don't like is when there's Cub fans rooting for them to play the Mets just because the Cubs swept them 7-0 in the regular season. When the Cubs beat the Mets 7 times in the regular season, that was a different Mets team and a different Cubs team.
That's true. The Cubs were sort of on the rise, thinking maybe this could be a good, above 500 season. The Mets, had their good pitching staff, but they didn't have nearly as good of the offense.
Right, and that was also when the Cubs' offense wasn't hitting.
Right. It's just sort of amazing that you add like one guy, Yoenis Cespedes, and the whole culture of the team changed right after that. I mean, they went on a roll after Cespedes caught fire.
Right, Duda started hitting more. Curtis Granderson started hitting.
Yep. Yeah. It's going to be tough whoever they play. I feel like because you're going to avoid Greinke until much later in the series, it would be best to face the Dodgers at this point. But if it is the Mets, that's an easier time change for the Cubs to advance to. It's only an hour ahead instead of going 2 hours behind, which really actually wouldn't really be a problem for the Cubs. It would actually be a problem for the Dodgers when they have to go 2 hours ahead back to Wrigley Field. So, it's going to be very exciting, and you hope that Jason Hamill can pitch well in this series. He didn't pitch very well, although he got a pretty clutch hit on Tuesday. But he didn't pitch his best game, and it sort of turned into a bullpen game Tuesday in the clinching
Which I
game.
think it was expected to be a bullpen game.
Yeah, hopefully you'd probably like Hamill to go more than did he go 3 or 4 innings?
3.
He went 3. I think if you could get 4 or 5 maximum out of him, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Right, except you don't want that to end up being too late, because when I went to Chris Bryant bobblehead day, he pitched 4 shutout innings, and then the 5th inning came along, gave up 2 hits and a 3-run homer to Jordy Mercer, and then he was taken out.
Yeah.
You don't want to run into that.
No, obviously you want to prevent that from happening, and that's why I love Joe Madden. He's always watching, not necessarily watching what's happening game scenario, but he's watching what's happening to the actual guy on the mound. He's watching, is the velocity up, is it down? How does he feel out there? Is he walking people? All that stuff, and sometimes when people don't think it's the right move to pull him, Madden will pull him anyway, and it usually works in our favor because Madden sees stuff that a lot of people don't see.
Absolutely. And that's one of the many things that makes Joe Maddon such a good manager.
And he makes our bullpen better just for that situation. I mean, he had Clayton Richard just face one batter, but what did Clayton Richard do in that batter? He struck out Jason Hayward.
I really like Clayton Richard. I think he's done a phenomenal job.
He has done a great job. Fernando Rodney was really bad this year. Since he's come to the Cubs, he's been a little better. That's because he's with his buddy Joe Maddon again. I loved how
Chris Bosio.
Yeah, and Chris Bosio. I love how as Rodney walked off the mound, he did the flame arrow thing that he does. He still did it, and the crowd kind of erupted when he did that. It was pretty funny, and it was just a great game. The clinching game Tuesday, and then the home run game Monday that you were at. It was pretty crazy. It was just I didn't think they would win both games. I thought. In the back of my mind, I'm like, this series is probably going to go back to St. Louis. How did the Cubs beat the Cardinals twice?
See, I was just like, they're going to have to win a really close game, and they're probably not going to hit many home runs on I honestly wouldn't have been shocked if they hit no home runs Tuesday just because they hit 6 on Monday.
Right, and it ended up being almost the same thing, right? I mean, they hit half the home runs that they hit, but Schwarber hit the ball that went just over the Budweiser sign and landed behind it on a platform, and now it's in plexiglass for the rest of the postseason.
Yeah, that ball should have had a banner attached to it that said NLCS as it was flying.
I mean, that ball, it was insane. That ball was
destroyed.
Crushed. Unbelievable. And Anthony Rizzo's home run was crushed, too. I don't think it went as far as the one on Monday. But the
one on Monday was destroyed.
Yeah, but it was killed. I mean, these guys, it's almost unbelievable the power that some of our Cubs have.
It's kind of funny that in Monday and Tuesday, Mike Matheny makes the pitching change to have Kevin Seagrass, the left-handed pitcher, face Rizzo both times, and both times Rizzo hit a home run.
That's because Rizzo's like the best lefty-hitting lefty in the big leagues, pretty much.
Right, and not only that, Matheny went with the same pitcher 2 days in a row, and he hit a home run both times.
And everyone's always concerned, why does Rizzo get into these 0-2 counts? He always gets into 0-2 counts, and he usually capitalizes on it. He hits, and as we saw in the postseason 2 days in a row, he hit 0-2 pitches for home runs, which is great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so great to see. It's like a weapon, because to have
it's almost like a DH in the lineup, like where you can bring this guy up and he's gonna, and whoever's on the mound, he's gonna hit the ball.
It's kind of like he's like a switch hitter in a way.
Yeah.
That because he hits lefties and righties so well each, and I'm hoping that Rizzo's success against lefties can rub off on Schwarber too.
Right. And so far, I mean, even the immediate impact it might have, because I mean, it's crazy. And Dexter Fowler has been great this postseason. He was especially good in the wild card game in those first few games in St. Louis.
Monday he flew out, he had a lot of deep flyouts, and then he finally hit the home run.
He had a deep flyout in the first inning, I think.
First inning, second at bat. He hit a ball that just kept a shallow right that carried to the warning track.
That's because the wind was howling.
Oh man, was it blowing hard?
Yeah, it was blowing hard by my house. All the chairs on my back deck blew off. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I hope they find a way to keep Fowler. He's going to be a free agent. We don't really know what to expect. I don't really want to go into it because we're in the midst of something special here. But hopefully they can find a way to keep him. He's been pretty valuable to the team.
Absolutely. And the way that he's turned it on, especially his postseason play, really makes you hope that they can re-sign him. Because, that's a huge element they'll be losing. They won't have a leadoff hitter next year.
Right. And so, hopefully you can find a way to keep him, go after somebody like David Price, maybe not specifically David Price, but they have the money for it, and they could be able to do it. And you also got to look at guys like Jordan Zimmerman, who honestly he probably wants out of Washington. I would think Jordan Zimmerman wants out of Washington at this point.
Yeah. His agent made a statement that made from Jordan that made it sound like he was leaving.
Yeah, well, and that the coaching staff, it's all fired. Nobody really knows what to expect. Scherzer's kind of stuck there. He probably wishes he didn't make that decision.
Right. Strasburg will probably leave as a free agent in a couple of years.
He could.
I'm pretty sure they can't afford to give Bryce Harper $500 million.
No, but he'll be asking for it. It's it's going to be a really interesting offseason. It's nice.
Desmond will be gone. Denard Span probably will be gone. Zimmerman will be gone. I'm sure they're saying good riddance to Doug Fister.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting offseason for every team, really, because there's a lot of things that are